We start off in Accra, where a High Court presided over by Justice Eric Chebafo has ordered the Electoral Commission to allow the flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, to correct the mistakes on his nomination forms for which he was rejected by the Commission or disqualified from the presidential race. Dr. Indum filed a writ at the High Court challenging his disqualification. Well, today it all culminated in the ruling by the High Court ordering the Commission to allow the flag bearer to correct his errors. Joy News' Joseph Akable has details of what transpired in court.
Supporters of the Progressive People's Party could simply not hide their excitement as the High Court presided by Justice Eric Chebafo gave a ruling in favor of the party's flag bearer, Dr. Papakwesi Indum.
Even the way we are deliberating here, look at the population now. It lets all of us change our mind that it's really true that the court have denied our truth for us, and it's God. So our prayers have come in today. If somebody said our prayers have not come in, then the person is not a really Ghanaian.
The leaders we had for the past were not telling us the truth until I met Mr. Papakwesi Indum, doctor. Before I decided that I want to come into politics because of Dr.
Justice Chebafo first ruled on the preliminary objections raised by lawyer for the EC, Thaddeus Osori. He pointed out that he feels Dr. Papakwesi Indum had appropriately triggered the supervisory role of the court. Then again, on the subject of whether the court is capable of instructing the Electoral Commission, the judge pointed out that just yesterday, on Thursday, the Supreme Court had ordered the Electoral Commission to make available collation sheets to the various parties at the close of polls. So that was a case in point that the court can instruct the Electoral Commission to perform an action, especially when the court realizes that that action is in contravention of the Constitution. The judge again made a ruling that the Electoral Commission failed to offer Dr. Indum an opportunity to correct the mistake, for which reason the Commission decided to reject his nomination form. This, he said, was a requirement spelled out in the CI 94. The judge again pointed out the Electoral Commission failed to specify a nomination period as required by law, even though a nomination day was spelled out by the Electoral Commission. Dr. Papakwesi Indum, speaking to the press after today's ruling, said he didn't fight this battle just for himself, but for the Progressive People's Party.
I believe that it is those rights that have been restored by the courts today. And I'm very grateful, I'm very thankful to the judge for understanding the legal arguments that our lawyers have made. I'm happy for the Progressive People's Party and all of our supporters, and especially for the prayers that they have offered on my behalf. I thank everybody. We will have an opportunity later to talk extensively. For now, I'm just thankful, I'm just grateful.
Lawyer for Dr. Indum Ayikwe Otu pointed out that this victory is one for democracy.
Article 46, which gives it the opportunity, grants it that right to be an independent body, even states that it is subject to the Constitution itself. You understand? So it is victory for democracy. I think people should take Article 23 of our Constitution very, very seriously, because there's a right given to everybody. You don't need to be a judge. This used to be the old position of the law, that Sasorara will go only for judicial and quasi-judicial activities.
In the coming days, all eyes will definitely be on the High Court, as the courts will be deciding on a number of other election-related disputes before the court. For Joy News, Joseph Akable, Accra.
Let's stay with the Electoral Commission, because the Commission has released the final list of polling stations for the 2016 general elections in December. In all, 28,992 will be used across the country. My colleague Favor Nono has just returned from the Commission's headquarters here in Accra, where an inter-party advisory committee meeting was held. He joins me in the studio. So Favor, tell us, first of all, why is it crucial for the Electoral Commission to release this list of polling stations to the political parties?
Yes. Okay, so as far as electoral mobilization is concerned, you'd understand that, of course, there's supposed to be a lot of activities in the various constituencies, in the various districts across the country, and therefore various political parties should be able to know where the respective polling stations are, and then they're able to engage with their party supporters, amongst other things, to locate or to be able to identify where they're supposed to vote. Because on the day of election, the most important thing is for your supporters to go out there and then cast their ballot. But if they do not know that, the chances are that they may found or they may not find it, and then you may lose it. So political parties will know where the various electorates will be voting, and then will start educating them, informing them, sensitizing them. Then on the day of election, by that time, at least about 40 days, they're able to easily locate it and then go ahead and then do the voting. Beyond that too will be the fact that they're able to identify who the various polling agents will be and all that. So once you know where the polling stations are, you can then know the delegate who would represent you on these or in these polling stations. So these are very important things that the EC must consider, and therefore release some of these things ahead of time for the parties to start working on as far as electoral mobilization is concerned. Good.
Now give us the specifics. Run us through the statistics of the list where for the various regions.
Okay, so what we know is that the Ashanti region actually tops the number of polling stations with about 5,000 of it. The Greater Accra follows with about 4,000. The least is the Upper West region, which has about 991 polling stations only. But essentially what will happen is that the EC says by next week they're going to give the various political parties the register which will be used to vote. It will be given to them, and therefore the parties are expected to bring along external drives so the EC can be able to provide these numbers or this list for them. But other political parties are also asking for the EC to give them hard copies, which may be very huge, but it's actually something that's in discussion.
The list in our possession, I noticed that the Ashanti region has the highest number of polling stations, as many as 5,190. 190,
yes.
190, yes. Yes. So,
and then there's the Bronga-Afo region, which also has 963 polling stations. There's a central region that has 2,482 polling stations. Now let's look at the eastern region, which has 3,243 polling stations. Now the Greater Accra region, very small, but obviously the population size would require that there will be more polling stations here, and therefore that's 4,762. The northern region has about 2,688. Then the Upper East region, surprisingly 1,226, and the Upper West that recorded the lowest number of polling stations at 991. The Volta region, the NDC stronghold, of course, 2,506, and the Western 2,941. So a total of all of these would be 28,992 polling stations that will be actively participating in the December 7 elections.
Okay, you've been speaking to the officials of the Electoral Commission, particularly on transmission of votes. What have they been telling you? So
what the EC is saying is that at today's IPAC meeting, discussions about how the transmission of votes would actually, or results I should say, would play out, came up because there's been discussions. The NPP raised concerns about the fact that they weren't sure as to how the EC would deploy this. You remember that the EC did contract some tenders who would do the electronic transmission, but none of them were able to satisfy the requirements that it set. Of course, probably very high standards. So the EC says in previous by-elections, 4 of it, they deployed their own transmission of results system for which they would want to deploy on election day, but they wouldn't go ahead and just do that. They would actually demonstrate that to IPAC members, and when they are satisfied, this will be rolled out. But speaking to some of the IPAC members, for example, the PNC, Bernard Mona, raised concerns that they thought that this was going to play out today, and the EC's communications director also did mention that to a very large extent they thought today's IPAC meeting would tackle the issue of transmission of results, but the EC says within the 40 days that's left, they would call for an IPAC meeting and then do a proper demonstration for which this will be seen. So we can have a listen to Eric Jakbasu now.
You see, we were, some time back, we were trying to adopt a system to electronically transmit the results from the constituency centers to the national collation centers. We went into the tendering process and we had to abrogate the contract because the vendors couldn't meet the specification. So in that release and in our briefing to the political parties at that particular IPAC meeting, we said that we have a system in-house which we have piloted at our previous 4 by-elections, which we are going to fine-tune and then make a demonstration of it at an IPAC meeting. So they demanded that demonstration. In fact, they were under the impression that it was at this meeting that that demonstration was going to be done. But we assured them that we are fine-tuning it, and in due course, we will demonstrate it to them. You see, but having said that, one thing we should always bear in mind is that for the transmission of results, we have a traditional process already captured in law. That is the basis for the transmission of the results. What we are experimenting with and we want to demonstrate is just an added on to make the system much more open and much more transparent for people who will be outside the collation table to have a look at. But in due course, as assured at the IPAC meeting, that will come on board and will bring the political parties to have a look at it.
So that's Head of Communications at the Electoral Commission, Eric Japasu there. But he's also been talking about the people who will be voting on December 1st, those who will be taking part in the special voting, hasn't he?
Yes, he has been speaking about special voting, that the EC is earmarked December 1st to be the day for special voting. So people like yourself who are in the media, people who offer special services like the security agencies, police, military, etc., they're able to participate in the special voting process. So he sticks me on that. We can actually have a listen.
We met all the political parties, civil society, and the donor community. And the main issues that we looked at were the issues of special voting, which is slated to come on the 1st of December. We also discussed giving out of the polling station list to the political parties, which we have already done. And we reiterated our request to them to submit their external hard drives to have the voters register uploaded onto the drives for them. We also looked at the commission in compliance with the law, giving out the list of election officials to the political party. And then we also looked at accreditation for party executives and then the media accreditation, as well as the training of party agents and election officials for the elections on the 7th of December.
Okay, and what are some of the debates on today's IPAC program? Were there concerns about, because in the past we knew that some parties like the NPP raised questions about the transfer of votes and how it will play out. They were not very sure because they said IPAC had not briefed them on how this process, for example, will play out. And given that we have just about 40 days to the polls, did that feature
Yeah, if I get you right, we're talking about the transmission of the election results. Okay, that came up. It came up.
Moving on, and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Gati Ampia, is calling on political parties in the country to trust institutions put in place to conduct elections in the country. According to him, such mistrust poisons the atmosphere and raises tension. Speaking at the Advancement Lecture Series organized by the Institutional Advancement at the University of Cape Coast, the Vice Chancellor asked the political parties to stop living in the world of suspicion where they suspect everybody in their quest to either maintain power or seek power.
For us to have anything called credible, as I listen to them, credible elections, it simply means that, as is written there, it should be free, it should be fair, it should be transparent and violence-free. But it looks like that is the challenge, because from what I have heard, the parties don't trust anybody. They don't even trust the Electoral Commission. So they don't even believe that the voters will vote right. So they resort to all sorts of manipulations, both physical and spiritual. Vote buying. They buy the vote so that they know the vote is in their hands. And will make you swear so that the gods will deal with you. If you go to the ballot box and you go into the cage and you don't vote according to what you have promised.
Well, still at that program, private legal practitioner Samson Ladi Ayenini has cautioned Ghanaians to desist from vilifying the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, as she does not take unilateral decisions on electoral matters alone. According to him, the EC chairperson takes decisions with other members of the commission as mandated by the Constitution.
The Constitution of Ghana 1992 established the Electoral Commission. It's a commission that is made up of 7 commissioners. You have the chair. Too often in Ghana, we seem to have forgotten about everybody else and focus on the chair and pay so much attention on the chair that we accuse the chair of being biased one way or the other, and that the chair has the capacity to manipulate the process in favor of one party. That chair does not take decisions alone. Charlotte Osei does it in conjunction with 6 other equally competent persons. Well, so it is an independent constitutional body. By the architecture of our constitution, when we say an independent constitutional body, it takes the character of Shraj. It takes the character of NCCE. They are not supposed to be under the beck and call or control of any other entity, not even the executive.
You're watching Joy News Prime. Still to come, minority in Parliament worried not much due diligence has been done on a number of loan agreements before the House. We'll bring you details after this break. You're welcome back. Now, you can stretch heaven to earth. Well, if God does not ordain you as a president, you fight in vain. Those are the words of President John Dramani Mahama as he tries to court voters in the Eastern region. President Mahama, as part of his tour, commissioned the Chebi Town Road, which was constructed under the Phase 1 of the Cocoa Syndicated Road projects in the Eastern region. The roads, upon completion, are expected to boost the agricultural needs of the people in the region and facilitate carting of farm produce from the farming communities. Addressing a Durbar at Odumase Krobo as part of the Nyayem Festival, the president announced the reconstruction of the Kpong Landing Beach Road, among other projects.
The reconstruction of the Odumase-Otekwelu Road, the partial reconstruction of the Somanya-Odumase-Kpong Road, the reshaping of the Obopa Junction-Obelemanya Feeder Road, amongst many others. I also promise you, Nene, the reconstruction of your town roads. And I'm very happy to note that work is seriously ongoing. Indeed, when I was arriving on these Durbar grounds, I drove on one of the smoothest roads I've ever traveled on. One of the smoothest roads I've ever traveled on in my life to arrive here. I could see the asphalt overlay was being put on, and I'm sure that the town roads and the asphalt overlay will be completed in due course. We're also planning to reconstruct the Kpong Landing Beach Road and the planning of a new bridge over the Okwe River. Then I wish to inform you also that in Upper Manya, Both Asesewa and Sekeswa town roads have been awarded on contract. Nene, I also note that during the implementation of the National Electrification Program here in the Eastern region, some critical parts of Yilo and Manya Krobo were left out. That is Upper Yilo and Upper Manya were left out. And so many of the communities there were without lights. We have corrected this anomaly, and currently we are beginning work on the communities in Upper Manya and Yilo, Upper Yilo. The reconstruction of
Correspondent Kofi Siao joins me on the telephone. He's been following the president. Kofi, good evening to you. And tell us, we understand that the president was in Ekropong earlier today. What has he been telling the people there? Well, unfortunately, we've lost Kofi Siao on the line. And the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, has promised to revitalize the country's cocoa industry when he wins power. He detailed that though the numerous interventions, including the mass spraying of cocoa farms, were introduced under the Akufo administration, the Mahama-led government has politicized the intervention. This, he said, has led to the collapse of the intervention since having a replicate effect on cocoa production in the country. And Akufo-Addo made the promise when he paid a courtesy call on the Omanhene of KJB traditional area, Nana Ojiabuo Akompi Firam II.
Nana Addo Akufo-Addo began a 5-day tour of the Volta region on Monday. His campaign team on Thursday stopped over at the Akan and Hohoe constituencies where they paid courtesy calls on chiefs and held rallies. Omanhene of KJB traditional area, Nana Ojiabuo Akompi Firam II, commended the NPP government on the massive infrastructural development in the area during the erstwhile Akufo administration. He endorsed all programs and policies the NPP is promising to implement when it wins the December polls, and pleaded with Nana Akufo-Addo to consider the creation of the Oti region under his administration.
Factory. Yeah, now okay. Say your private partner. Say your day, what's your factory?
We pray the policy provisions on building factories will be implemented if you win, to create jobs for the youth in our area. We pray for God's blessings for you so that all the good policies you have for this country, you'll be able to implement. We have about 8 traditional areas here, Dodofie, Ahumaso, etc. And throughout all of these traditional areas, we have a lot of inhabitants, and the distances is vast, and that is why we're asking for a new region to facilitate economic activities, since some of our roads are not good.
Nana Akufo-Addo gave the chiefs the assurance that he will ensure that the cocoa industry is revitalized.
Change of direction, change of policy.
We need a change of leadership, direction and policy, because the suffering in the country is unprecedented. So we plead with you to support the elephant, to push it to the Flagstaff House, to bring development to your area. We in the MPP are not making these promises because of votes. We really mean well for the country, and if God wills, we will implement them to bring prosperity into the country. The Oti region you spoke about is another key area we will look at. Nigeria did it and have now reorganized their states. That's what I want to do, to create Oti, Western, North and others, to improve efficient resource distribution.
Addressing a rally at KJB, Nana Akufo-Addo emphasized that all policies being promised by the NPP are feasible.
I will not tell Ghanaians I can do something that I cannot. I cannot lie to Ghanaians because of the love I have for the country. All the policies are well thought through, so when we come, we will implement them. This is the 3rd time I am running. We are pleading for you to vote for us. And when we get into office, we won't steal the state's money. We won't be arrogant, but to work to develop the country.
A rally scheduled to be held at Jasikan was however called off due to the rain. Nana Akufo-Addo's next stop was Hohoe, where he was welcomed by a thick crowd of supporters and sympathizers. The sympathizers mobbed him through the principal streets of the RC Park for the rally, where the chief of Lolobi, Nana Opoku Brimpong, pleaded with Nana Akufo-Addo to help save Ghanaians from the starvation under the NDC government.
We need a change. We need employment. A proverb that says, today you are in and tomorrow you are out. Therefore, the NPP members, we stand on behalf of you that you should help us so that our sufferings should come to an end.
Addressing the rally, Nana Akufo-Addo explained that the one district, one factory policy is meant to create jobs to end rural-urban drift, adding every constituency will receive the equivalent of $1 million a year to finance development at the local level. He appealed to the residents to save the future of this country by voting out the Mahama administration. Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
We're taking a short break. We'll be back with business news.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Business. Cement manufacturing company Dangote has justified the price of its products on the Ghanaian market as competitive. The Association of Cement Manufacturers of Ghana has called on government to sanction the company or even ban it from operating in the country. Media Relations Manager for Dangote, Etonam Komla Bwame, explains the claim is untenable.
Our price as we speak now is entirely not the lowest on the market. Indeed, our ex-factory price is 29.3. And we have been operating this 29.30 for more than 6 months now. And so it is not true that we have gone down our price. What rather is happening is that because of our innovative ways of doing business, we deliver free of charge to the end user. We also ensure that those who are able to lift minimum more bags from our factory get some incentives. So the distributor themselves are able to beat down prices. They share their profit with people. That is why our prices are almost always lower on the market. But in terms of ex-factory price, our prices are indeed one of the highest we have in Ghana. I always maintain that at any point that we are working outside the laws of the country, anybody could raise issues. But so long as we are working within the laws of the country, so long as our operations is making Ghana to understand that we have a higher quality of cement, so long as the end user is getting the benefit of price stability on the market, we are happy and we are good to go.
Now, the Minerals Commission has once again frowned against illegal small-scale mining and galamsey activities in the country. CEO of the Commission, Dr. Tony Oben, urged collective will to complement existing laws to make it more punitive for culprits to persistently engage in such illegal acts. The situation has assumed alarming proportions, with some people calling for its legalization and control. This, they believe, will help regulate their activities and generate some taxes for government. In an interview with Joy Business, Dr. Oben alleged some prominent persons in society are, in one way or the other, part of these nefarious activities and would only require much commitment by all stakeholders to put a stop to it.
I think we need to have a collective wrong, a definition of a collective wrong. What is wrong? And if it is wrong to me as government in power, it must be wrong to the opposition party because it's a collective, it's a national wrong. And so once the illegal miners know that, hey, all the parties are against us, they will try and formalize themselves. I'm not saying that people should not work or do small-scale mining. I always am quick to add, because I know what it is. I know that small-scale mining is good for our country if we do it properly, but to do it illegally, it makes it difficult to even control and manage.
You haven't shamed any chief. We understand some of them are behind it. Some district chief executives, some policemen. We haven't really been able to get them to do the right thing.
Yes, that's part of the collective wrong thing. You know, if you look at the people who are involved in illegal mining, if you look at if you really look at the profile, the hidden and the overt profile, you realize that all of us are involved. You might find people in a commission, the Minerals Commission, some are overtly, discreetly involved. You wouldn't know. You may see a pastor covertly involved. You may find a police officer covertly involved, or sometimes openly, because I know there are some officers who have been informed have machines, excavators, and they rent that out. So to stop that business is to hurt them.
So the whole thing is very complex.
So it's very complex, but the way out is to have the will to stop it. And this will must be collective. This will must be, the way we are, when a right thing is being done, you find others say, oh no, this is this, that is wrong, is it? And then sometimes, and human beings are human beings. But if we define this collective right and wrong, then we will all collectively. But then, as a commission, let me tell you what we are doing. I'm sure I've said it many times, and I don't want you to say, we just want you to do it, don't tell us. But it's been a long problem, so it needs some careful solution. Some laws have been passed. Some laws have been passed, some have been amended to make it punitive, more punitive for people who are involved in illegal mining.
Now, a new airline has joined Ghana's aviation industry, known as Kronos Airline. The flight, which will operate schedules from Malabo to Accra, was inaugurated at the Kotoka International Airport today. Speaking to Joy Business, the Chief Operating Officer of Kronos Airlines, George Caiaphas, said Ghana's aviation industry remains enviable in the region.
Ghana's aviation industry continues to receive many international airlines with increasing volume of traffic. The Airport Company Limited is currently embarking on a refurbishment of the airport with ongoing development Terminal 3 at the Kotoka International Airport to accommodate the mountain air traffic and passenger handling. This, coupled with 20% reduction in aviation fuel, is making the industry very attractive. The new Kronos airline was inaugurated today at the airport. Present was the Equatorial Guinea ambassador to Ghana. The new airline Kronos will bridge the gap between Equatorial Guinea capital Malabo and Accra twice weekly. The chief operating officer of the airline, George Caiaphas, said development in Ghana's industry makes it one of the most competitive in the region.
Ghana has a head step of many other African countries, which I think bringing them closer can enable all these countries to follow the same steps. So we try to bring African countries closer and easier, to be faster, and that will enable to develop business relationship, tourism, and many other things.
The new reforms are expected to cause profitability in the sector to inch up.
Now, current challenges with the economy and uncertainty surrounding the December polls have had minimal impact on investments and deposits. These are the views of investment analysts and a banker. Recent report by the Bank of Ghana shows that there has been a significant reduction in deposits and credit delivery. Executive Director of Investment House Data Bank, Reverend Daniel Ugbami Tete, tells Joy Business that this has not been the case for Data Bank.
I do not have data for the entire industry, but if I'm using what I see at Data Bank as a proxy, and as you may know, when it comes to the mutual fund area, we are the market leaders. We can say that it's a mixed situation. You'll find people seem to be gravitating more towards money market, fixed income type investment. So we are not seeing a slowdown, if you like, in that area. We rather are seeing a bit bit of a pickup. But when you take equity investments, you find that it's really suffering. And it may also be attributable to the fact that if you take the Ghana Stock Exchange, the market has been in negative territory. And the typical thing for many people is to check out of investing in equities when the market is going down, when actually the prudent thing to do is to do your analysis to be sure that you are picking the stocks that may be losing value, because you are, as we say in investing, you pay the price, but what you get is value. So in terms of the reaction of investors, what we hear them saying is that yes, things are tough, and so disposable income has been affected, but we are seeing people still pushing money into money market and fixed income products as opposed to going into equity. So I guess it's a situation of some people understanding that as for investment, it's important to create the kind of future you want, so we keep it going no matter how tight things are.
Now, Managing Director of Capital Bank, Reverend Fitzgerald Odonko, also maintains that the bank has not experienced any challenge with deposits.
So long as we keep banking simple, we believe that the aggregate result of it is that we will build up the relationships, we'll build up the level of the banked population, and whether we have elections or not, we will still be able to grow our business. It's still safe to keep your money with the bank. We have a strong financial services industry, and we have strong institutions, and it's still much better to keep the money in the account than to keep it under your bed.
That's all in business for now. Thank you very much for your attention. More news coming up. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Good evening.
You're welcome back. Sorry for that hitch. Now, staff and students, as I was saying, of the Iguafo Senior High School in the Central Region are demonstrating, requesting the removal of the headmistress of the school. The staff allege the headmistress is pursuing unfriendly policies that are inimical to the growth of the school. Central Regional Correspondent Richard Kojo-Nyako joins me on the line with more details on this. Now, Richard, what did they mean by unfriendly policies?
One, we think that anyone who speaks any contrary view to that of the headmaster, the headmaster's name is Kwesi Forson, becomes a subject of attack, and so either the head teacher will transfer you to another school or will give you a belief that I do not want you in the school because you are meddling in my affairs. Next one the teachers spoke about was about the low performances. The head teacher came to the school when the school was scoring 76% in the WAS examination, but now that's on the 6%, and the F, E's, and D's, which according to the teachers of the policies that the headmaster is pursuing, instead of getting much for the teachers, the head teacher is not doing that one. She's interested in her own, as they put it, interest by buying or recommending school clothes that they are not or don't even find any need for, and all of that one. According to the teachers too, they have petitioned the district or the municipal education directorate. They've also gone on directorate. They've met with the board of the school, and PT to avail, and they see that the school is fine. So they had to do something to this. And so today, classes were disrupted. The teachers were in red armbands. They were clad in red attires, and they got all the students along in demonstrating today.
All right, Richard, you've been talking to some of the students there. Let's listen to what they had to say.
We have petitioned the board for now
So if the board failed to react towards what you have sent your petition to him, I think the next thing is you have to channel it into the Ministry of Education. So you have to copy or send a letter or petition letter to Municipal Director of Education. Then you send to the Regional Director of Education. Then you send it to the administration. We don't want the man back. We don't want the man to part of the school. We don't want him to head the school because he cannot manage the school. This demonstration has done because the headmaster is not helping the school. He's not helping the school because when he came into the school just last 2 years, the academic performance has been progressing without understanding.
Now, small-scale miners or artisanal miners in Obuasi in the Ashanti region have agreed to relocate to a new site designated for them by the Minerals Commission. It comes after last week's demonstration by small-scale miners who destroyed public and private property to protest the removal from the area that they are currently on. Love FM's Princess Appiah reports.
The standoff between the small-scale miners and Anglo-Gold Ashanti over illegal occupation of the company's concession has persisted since last February. It compelled Anglo-Gold Ashanti to sue Government of Ghana over security concerns within its concession. Anglo-Gold Ashanti has released 60% of its concession to the artisanal miners, but officials are worried small-scale miners continue to trespass into the remaining 40% retained. The small-scale miners argue the relinquished area was not prepared for mining.
I'm currently in one of the areas prepared for the illegal miners to come occupy. These specs you see here indicate where each Galamsey worker, where in the local parlance they call ghetto, is supposed to occupy. So it continues like that. Everyone has his or her own ghetto to occupy. So the place is already prepared. But the illegal miners are claiming that most of the areas allocated by the Minerals Commission is not well prepared, and so they are not going to come.
Minerals Commission drew a roadmap to facilitate the relocation of 3,734 registered small-scale miners to occupy these areas. They include Nyamebetre, Kotopreso, Abedjem, Adimenu, Sushenso, Dwabeso, and Amponyase. The illegal miners embarked on a demonstration last week accusing Anglo-Gold Ashanti of acting contrary to the roadmap. Sustainable manager Nana Ampofo denies the claim.
AGA has stuck to the roadmap. Roadmap said and had in the last paragraph that areas within the concession which have already been secured should continue to be secured. As we go ahead and move people from all the other areas to the new area. So AGA hasn't breached the roadmap.
The Minerals Commission had earlier on Wednesday met with the leadership of the miners who agreed to leave, but they want Anglo-Gold to further deepen holes for them. Chief Saha Na Yahuza is executive member of the Artisanal Miners Association.
Because Ghana passed and the Nipano was a free her. Because everyone's one jaoka. And when you be died at the amount. Tis our cocoa patapana, quack, Sawangas and Soquano, pay peace. You were canning a quani age man. No Macassi and through a normal trace, young baby.
Ampofo says the mine can only begin operation when they declare their remaining concession safe for work.
As I'm speaking with you now, all these areas have been declared no-go zones for our employees. It is only when the security forces have been able to secure the area and declare to us that it is now a go area that we can go back there and assess the extent of damage that has been caused to our infrastructure and every other thing that is there. When that assessment is made and completed, then we can even know when we can put everything there back to where it was before the incursion, and then we can move ahead from there. We've always said we're looking for an investor. It is after we've done all these things and we've been able to go out there to tell the world that, listen, the mine is a secure place now. People can come and pump in their money.
Meanwhile, the miners want authorities to allow them go for the equipment for peace and cordiality to prevail between the two parties. Prince Apia reporting.
Now, the minority in Parliament says not much due diligence has been done on a number of loan agreements before the House. Joy News is learning the House may approve several facilities between Ghana and other partners, hitting almost $900 million before it rises for the next election next week.
Parliament Friday approved an amount of 38 million euros for the development of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development to be sited at Somanya in the Eastern Region. Member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Dr. Mark Esibe-Yeboah, tells Joy News his side will protest the passage on the floor. He also questioned the siting of the university in Somanya and Donko Krum instead of the Eastern Regional capital, Koforidua.
All the public universities in this country are sited in regional capitals. And it's not for nothing that they are in regional capitals, because you want to attract lecturers. Lecturers are thinking about the infrastructure of the area. They want good schools, good amenities, so that they would live there with their families. And there are a number of universities in the country right now. So if you want to attract the best lecturers, then there's competition from other universities. So you site the university where attracting lecturers does not become a problem.
Environment, Science and Technology Minister Mahama says the siting of the university was based on recommendations by a committee set up to consider issues.
It may be the case that some other people look at the politics of it before the development considerations, but we look at the technical developmental issues before we consider the political issues. Mr. Speaker, wherever we cite the university in the Eastern region, we will still make political gains by just citing the university in the Eastern region. But in the Eastern region, where do you cite it and achieve a developmental advantage? Mr. Speaker, one problem that we have in this country is bad planning.
Contributors to the motion called on government to resource the existing universities to play their roles effectively.
As of today, University of Ghana is the only ranked university in Ghana, in Africa. We are number 12. And then in the world rankings, University of Ghana is around 600. The others are not rated in Ghana. So if you are adding more universities, and then we are looking forward, if we are not resourcing the existing ones, how do you expect me to support such an argument or such a development? We should concentrate on actually making sure that we are resourcing the existing universities so that they grow and then become well respected in the Committee of Nations.
Meanwhile, presenting the business statement on the floor, Deputy Majority Leader Alfred Kwame Agbeshi called on MPs to brace themselves for longer sitting hours as the House wraps up for the December elections.
What is necessary is what is contained in the report of your committee, that the university was envisaged to operate as a multi-campus institution. By that, Mr. Speaker, I understand it to mean that apart from Somanya and Dongokrum, other campuses may be established. And I'm hoping that very soon a campus will come to Sogakope.
Now we continue with our citizen journalist reports under the Joy News and Star Ghana project, Poverty and Politics. Last week, one of our citizen journalists reported from Komanda in the Buno region about a school without teachers. Well, the same community has no potable drinking water too. Citizen journalist Nanaya Edisi Pokwa reports that residents are compelled to drink from a polluted stream.
Komanda can be found in the Bongahafu region. The small farming community lacks access to basic social amenities. The only school in the community has no teachers. For residents of Komanda, access to potable drinking water is a luxury, as residents are compelled to drink from the only polluted stream. Some residents wash their dirty clothes and motorbikes in the stream. The only source of drinking water for residents of Komanda is also their source of diseases, as the local clinic in Apesika records high cases of typhoid. Kofi Konkomba is the Konkomba chief of Komanda. He says the situation persists even though they have made several complaints about it.
We do not have potable water in this community. Our only source of drinking water is the stream. It is the source of diseases for the community folks. We want government to help us with good drinking water. We have complained several times, but we still do not have a solution.
The assemblyman for Apesika East says they will boycott the elections if the problem is not addressed.
This is the only source of drinking water for Komanda residents. It is the same place people wash their dirty clothes and motorbikes. The clinic at Apesika usually records high cases of typhoid. Anytime it rains, the dirty water descends into the stream. We have resolved that if government does not address the issue, we will not allow any ballot box in this area.
Ajua Esa says pregnant women and children are bearing the brunt of government's inactions.
We trek long distances to get water. The water itself is dirty. It's cumbersome for our pregnant women to travel long distances to fetch water. Sometimes we are unable to drink the water. Our children get sick all the time. They should help us with water.
They are complaining that when it rains, the river is full of refuse.
Citizen journalist Nanaya Edisi Poko's reports for Joy News.
Now, residents of Ejura Setri Dumasi constituency in the Ashanti region say education, health and road infrastructure will engage their attention in deciding who to vote for in December. Though many acknowledge some developmental projects have been undertaken, parliamentary candidates of the NDC and MPP need to do more. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin visited Ejura and sent in this report.
Ejura Setri Dumasi constituency was the stronghold of the NDC until 2012, where the New Patriotic Party was able to win the seat. The Member of Parliament, who happens to be the candidate for the New Patriotic Party, says he is going to maintain the seat for the second time. But the National Democratic Congress, the candidate, is also saying he will recapture the seat for the party this time round. So we will be speaking to some residents to find out what will actually push them to vote for any of these candidates in this year's election.
Initially, we used to have one of our agricultural industry here that used to work, that was so vibrant, and which is Ejura Farm Company Limited. But in some time now, that place is collapsed, and that place used to absorb almost 5,000 youth and give them job, but currently it's collapsed, so they're all jobless. So I think if it's a great challenge to the community and the constituency as a whole. And additionally, we need this community is quite large compared to other places, and when it comes to health sector too, we need more health facilities to help us improve the health of our people and promote the health we all want to promote in the citizens of Ghana. So what we are looking at is somebody who can really change the constituency for us, somebody who can change, who can uplift the image of Ejura Dumasi constituency to a higher level.
Ejura, like so many things by because of EMP, or my mama improvements, but by the secondary school, like so many classrooms. yes Roman penny say MC ni no MP ni nyina na omutimi si school dan ni binka Edwamai secondary school na Edwura suntimi mo anen ko ani mo any assembly wo eno na ehia wo Edwurasi.
Basically what she says is that the secondary school, there's so much to be done at the secondary school, and they want the government to do his best to develop that particular secondary school. He also commended both the MC and the MP for their good working.
Actually, the challenges are some of our roads which are in bad states. Some of our school buildings which need to be renovated. Some of our schools which need modern or new school buildings. So these are some of the challenges we do face.
We want the town to develop. The town is now starting to develop. It's now gradually proceeding. It's now developing. So we need a lot of changes and a lot of development in the town.
First of all, I'll check the developmental project that's been going through in this municipal. So when you see these roads, our lighting system, traffic lights are being brought at this community. So many things have been done. So based on all these things, I will choose the better one, and I'll vote for that candidate who was able to bring those projects here.
We're taking a break. We'll be back with entertainment news. Don't go away. And don't also forget that tomorrow is the Old Schools reunion. It's happening at the Independence Square. Don't miss it. I'm Arba Kumsin. Thanks for joining us throughout this week. From all of us here, have a lovely weekend. Good night.
This is Joy News Prime.